Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. The Coldima Madakwa? Sorry, I would never have guessed that you were that interested in ultrasonic sounds. Or birds, for that matter. How interesting. Well, it's been a long while since I've gone hunting for the Coldima Madakwa. Once knew a group of young musicians who decided they didn't want to play music anymore, and started looking for all kinds of interesting sounds instead. This was before, you know, lost touch with them after all of that. Cool or not, one of them was obsessed with recording the Coldima Madakwa, and he was one of those passionate people who know a lot about all kinds of strange things, so he got the rest of us to join in his search. We thought we did. We got together all these recordings of unusual sound patterns, compared them, cut them up and combined them into the Symphonia Coldima Madakwa. That really wasn't the point. After the Symphonia, we moved on to the sounds of office supplies or something like that, and I doubt any of us would have been any good at pushing papers. Unfortunately, I don't have any recordings from my old life. None at all, but I do have a tape with some ultrasonic sounds that might be what you're looking for.
Do we really have time for this?
This recording comes from down the coast. Wasn't looking to record anything specific. Just left a recording device there one morning. Keep in mind, I have to slow this one down enough to make sounds well over 200 kilohertz audible to the human ear. It will be strange.
As the hum grows louder, modulating but always unnaturally uncomfortably low, like it's coming not from the speakers, but also from inside your chest, breathing is becoming difficult. That's an illusion. Your breathing is just as it was and will remain that way unless you start panicking. There's a growing sense of dread. The sound is coming from inside you, but also surrounding you. It feels as though someone is standing just outside your range of vision and watching you, doing this to you. He nods to you, reassuringly, just as more diverse, higher-pitched sounds, some random, some appearing to form patterns, hit your eardrums.
Gulls and skewers. But shh.
A low range of sounds is easier to handle with a focal point, but still troubling. You are mesmerized by the sounds, but also feel nausea welling up as the motif continues, then begins to recede, dissolving in what must be the sound of water lapping at the bank.
You know, now that I've listened to it on these new speakers, it's not the Coldima Madakwa. Wrong patterns, wrong photons. Probably some insect trying to sing higher than its predators can hear. Still, fascinating, aren't they? Early morning sounds. Sure, let me have a look. Anything else you're thinking of selling? All right, let's see it. Oh, no, 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 no. I don't need bloodthirsty mercenaries knocking on my door looking for their missing toys. Besides, this gear costs a fortune. There's no one in Martinez with that kind of money.
It feels like he would have accepted the risk if he hoped to profit from it. It's not greed, though. Deep down, he's a gambler, provided the stakes are sufficiently interesting.
Another time, perhaps.
It is such a pleasure to see you again, officer. How may I help?
Officer! God damn it. Pull yourself together, René. What do you want?
This man seems to be experiencing a mild to medium level of congestive heart problems, either due to narrowing of the arteries or high blood pressure.
The purity of snow always reminds me of the purity of a man's soul, if he's got principles.
As René turns from you to his partner and back, the medals on his chest rattle and glare. He keeps his spine straight and his ribcage lifted, displaying them proudly. 2. The larger one is shaped like a cross, while the smaller medal resembles the sun. A crowned head in front of 2 crossed rifles. The medal hangs from a blue striped triangle. A small blue star inside an orange sun. It has the word Valiance written below.
For bravery. I'm sure, but I know this uniform's reputation. You are also wondering if I got this for raping women or killing babies. Son, we should never forget our past. Lots of mistakes were made back then, but there were also lessons. Forgetting those times means the mistakes were for nothing. That all those people died for nothing.
Whoa! Sounds like you're about to open the gates of conversation. This man will literally talk your ear off if you let him wander off to memory lane.
For doing my duty in the heat of battle. For looking my mortality in the eye. When men like Gaston here hid in the bushes and shot themselves.
He saved some muddy princeling who foolishly strolled into the front line in his gown of velvet and gold.
It was on the first months of the revolution here in Revachol. Unrest was spreading like wildfire. Marauders had taken most of the Couronne and were getting really ambitious. King Frisel thought he could end it all in one decisive strike. Sent his cousin, Drisson, to put an end to the unrest. Alas, the young Drisson was all piss and no vinegar, wearing a tunic of purple velvet and cockatiel feathers to battle. Even his rifle was gold-plated, shone from 5 clicks away. Can you imagine the asininity?
Purple velvet tunic. That isn't exactly camel.
To keep the long and bloody story short, Drisson marched us against the partisans in Couronne. And when I say marched, I mean made us walk into captured enemy territory, single file, like toy soldiers, while he rode in front on his giant red stallion. The rebels were smart. They let us come real close before opening fire. Suffice to say, it was carnage. I got shot in the left shoulder and went down. Just a flesh wound. But just as I turned over, the prince fell into the mud next to me. He was missing his lower jaw. Then his horse, driven mad by the noise and smell of gunpowder, stepped on my leg and shattered my knee.
It's painful to even think about.
I grabbed my sidearm and shot the beast in the head. Then everything went black.
Capitaine Arnaud, le fléau des chevaux.
When I came to, it was all over. It was just me and Jolas Tresson, gurgling in the blood-soaked mud right next to me. The Dink had taken numerous flesh wounds and lost a lot of blood. But despite missing his jaw, he seemed hesitant to die. Tougher than he looked, that one. Right. So I grabbed the prick and started crawling. Kept going until the 59th Cavalry picked us up. Through some miracle, we both survived. And the jailless freak convinced Frissel to give me a medal for not leaving him to die in his own blood. Piece and shit. He was the commanding officer and I was on duty. Just doing my job. Shouldn't hand out medals for that. 13 months later, I received the Sun. For distinguished service. It's not worth mentioning.
You sense he's downplaying it. He did a lot more than his duty. More than anyone's duty. It's in his spine, in his billowing breasts, and untarnished self-worth. Duty, medals, honor, chain of command. I like this guy. He's not a pansy. I don't like pansies. The old carabinier stands quietly like a statue, his features motionless.
What Monseigneur Modesty is not telling you is that he crawled over 7 kilometers before the cavalrymen found him and Drizant. 2 days later that was. And that even while crawling with a mangled half-dead prince on his back, he still managed to murder 3 rebels on his way.
Is that pride in his voice? It's deep down, but maybe even unbeknownst to the man himself, it's there.
Sorry, officer, but you're reading me all wrong. I'm a man of peace, and these kinds of bloody heroics are only impressive to men like René himself. Certainly not to me. How did you find the story to be, officer? Maybe, but also bear in mind, officer. They don't hand this out for anyone with a service record. Oh no, you have to get shot. Repeatedly. And you need to get your hands bloody too. Really, really bloody.
Do not speak of what you know nothing about, Poltroon. Duty is something you will never understand.
The old?
What? And that...
Is that pride in his voice? It's deep down, but maybe even unbeknownst.
Maybe, but also be... Oh no!
Do not speak of what you... Bah! There were many such stories in those days. Many such men too. True Eversholians. Men with backbone.
Oh yes, René, yes. Men were bigger, girls were prettier, and everyone wore the fascia. Lord, please, bring those days back, if you can.
I'm not getting into this with you again. Officer, was there anything else?
You should try to come up with a heroic story of your own. Impress this old soldier.
It is such a pleasure to see you again, officer. How may I help?
A man so principled about his sandwich calls for a principled approach. Time to get political. This right here is political. Say one of these fascist or communist things or fuck off.
All right. Let's hear them, officer.
The purity of snow always reminds me of the purity of a man's soul, if he's got principles.
Go long, go deep, go unconventional.
Sure, officer. Let's hear your take. I'm not following you.
He'll get it. Don't worry. Just continue. He's gonna be impressed. The man stares at you, silently frowning. The carabiner crosses his arms and spits in the crater.
You're talking about getting blackout shit-faced drunk and going into delirium, right?
The lieutenant looks up from his notes and nods to the old carabiner.
Was the vessel you boarded the HMS Commodore Red?
The name echoes through the deep, dark halls of history. It calls to you and your kin.
You mean alcohol? Everyone can see that, yes. And I thought getting my knee shattered and surviving on rat carcasses in the trench was bad. Here, have one of my medals. You've earned it, officer.
Of course not.
The veteran extends his right arm with the sun-shaped medal. It glimmers in his wrinkled and scarred palm. Flashes of bloody and terrible scenes of war. Men dying, horses shrieking, blood sinking into sand and snow and asphalt and fertile black earth. All of this accompanied by a musical composition telling of heroism of old, when men were bigger in both body and heart. You feel strange kinship to this old soldier. You and him are the same now.
Was there something else you wanted to take from us?
I don't think there was anything else he wanted, was there? You got the medal. Now let's solve the crime.
There's nothing for you to understand here. It is not her death you are investigating.
His face is motionless, like a marble mask. He doesn't comment.
Right. What about him?
She gives you a short nod before returning to her book.
I don't mean...
For what it's worth, I agree. But
I don't even have a cockatoo, even if I have. Great. Nothing. Go read.
Maybe you should check that cockatoo book at...
Wonderful. The story's open. Excuse me? I don't know. Some things are, officer.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? On the contrary, officer. There are yet camioners you have not talked to. And don't look so surprised. In a time like this, it would be strange if Wild Pines didn't have eyes on the harbour. I suggest you go back and canvass for more suspects. More lessons in basic reality? Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. You're back. Good. What can I... More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything. Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. You're back. Good. By love, you did.
Fast, observantly, like an electronic printer.
Pleased to meet you, Lieutenant W. Freighter Dubois. I am glad to see a man of high qualification. The situation is precarious. What can I help you with, Lieutenant Freighter?
How about you share your information on the lynching, now that you've seen his badge?
The goalposts have moved, Lieutenant. In the absence of the badge, I have informed my employer there will be a probe. I cannot rescind that promise. To my knowledge, the drivers are still at the roundabout. I will tell you everything I know when you've finished with them. My plan is to share information. The only way to do that now is by telling my employers you've kept your end, which I hope you will, because let me tell you, we are in dire waters.
How bad can the info she has be?
The sooner the probe is finished, the sooner I can share crucial information with you. Now, is there anything I can do for you in the meanwhile? Tea, perhaps? More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the...
A strange coldness comes over you as you look at the world. The waves sway the sloop slowly. That's all. The doubt is fully formed in your head. The alien feeling persists. You just can't word the question yet. You have to complete the jamais vu thought first.
Glad to have been of assistance. The little that I know. Anything else?
Hello, compatriot. You have something to discuss? Drugs? They're shit, man. I don't let anything pollute my body. You know where that shit comes from? Sarah Miriza, Safre, Ilmara. They take the money from our local junkies here and then use it to outcompete us in the manufacturing sector. They know they can't beat us in a fair fight, so they have to get us to weaken ourselves somehow. It's racial sabotage, racial economic sabotage. I don't go for that foreign piss. Proper booze is made in Mundi. Or sometimes, I like a dram of that Yugograd vodka. Koikos and worse much, but they do no booze. Look, I'm gonna be straight with you since you're my kin. I don't know shit, and if I did, I wouldn't tell you. You're a cop. I'm not an idiot. What do you think? I can't leave the lorry unguarded. Stuff's been getting looted lately. It's those little kips sneaking around at night. If they touch my stuff, the bosses will be on my ass like ass cancer.
There was a bunch of spilled boxes in the back of a big lorry nearby.
Yeah, I knew that guy. He was an honest driver who loved his country. We were having a good debate about genetics at the Wheeling in Rags when some kid boys smashed his luck and took damn near everything. Lost his fucking job over it. Since he left, I haven't had anyone to talk to. It's a fucking travesty is what it is. Isn't it obvious? Fucking Sealang, that beady-eyed South Samaran. His little side business is a scam. I wouldn't be surprised if he was peddling drugs as well. Of course he's a lorry driver. What? He tell you he's just some simple businessman or some shit? He's selling his employer stuff after he broke the seals on his Humanox lorry. His tribe are natural liars. It's in their blood. He's your man, all right? 100%.
I wouldn't be so sure about it. Not until we've heard what Sealang himself has to say.
Guess so.
Everything's still cool here, officer. Everything's drugs? I don't go in for that, officer. Drugs ruin lives. Unless you're into drugs, of course. In which case, drugs are excellent. Mwah! Tasty, tasty drugs. That's very cool. A lot of the coolest detectives do drugs. Sadly, I don't have any drugs on sale, or at my home, or on my person. That's cool, especially after you already said you're into them. All the coolest detectives in the movies do drugs, and are very conflicted about it. Still, no drugs here. That's even cooler. You investigating that and all. But, I am not a lorry driver. I'm just a street vendor. I don't know anything about that. Who said that? It's the fat racist, right? I bet it's him. He has an agenda against me because I'm an immigrant who works harder than he does. He's a hater.
So you admit you're a lorry driver?
No, I just said I work harder and he's an asshole.
Realizing he can't get out of it. Smart man.
Okay, maybe I'm a lorry driver too. A little. But that's not the most important thing about me. That's my day job. This is my dream. No, I just forgot. It's such a small part of my life. It's in the rear view mirror now. I'm climbing out of that hole. With ingenuity. Nothing. I told you. I'm not a dumb guy. I don't get involved with that crowd.
And what crowd is that?
Crowd, you know. The drug crowd?
There's more here. He's afraid of this crowd, whoever they are, more than he is of the racist lorry man.
Look, there's bad people doing bad things here. That's all I know. Please don't get me into this mess. I've spent 15 years working my way up. It's a she, okay? The other drivers call her the lady driver. You're better off staying away from her. The way they talk about her, she's no lady.
Interesting. Could this driver be connected to the Hardy Boys?
I don't know. Maybe. If she is, I haven't gone near her. I don't get involved. I told you.
It could be. She was strange.
All of them. I don't know. I told you all I know. Are we cool now? I really want us to be cool now.
Who exactly is talking about this lady driver of yours? The racist or the other one with the tattoos?
All of them. Even the ones who've left. I don't hang out with them. I don't remember who has tattoos. I don't know. I'm not local. I don't know anything about that. All right. I scored. Let's cap this off with a purchase. You can walk away from here with funky sunglasses, detectives. Both of you. You deserve it. Everything's still cool here, officer.
Start with a little compliment, then work your way up from there. This is about business, remember.
Oh, okay. But why, officer?
After all this mess, the broken seals, lying to you, come on.
An investment? What kind of investment? I hear you, officer. What kind of a sum are we talking about here? Sounds like a fair deal all around.
Corruption.
It's just like bus or seagull. A kid watching out of a window describing things going by. He doesn't like it too much, but what do you do? The speakers below are banged up and worthless. The sneakers triumph over them. They're the star of the show here.
The shine on...
The woman is still hunched over the railing, her head swaying to the music, her eyes looking at nothing in particular.
Huh? What is it? What do you want? Did you just call me a lady, Herife?
The woman's malevolent cackling fills the roundabout.
I'm a lady like you are, Gabriel Buenguerro. Only in dreams. I'm only terrifying to small children, and to those who used to know me, because they can no longer recognize the person I once was. How should I know? Do I look like I spend a lot of time with the other communers sniffing around, when I have my movies to go to? Oh, Sim.
Still here. Stuck in this damn jam, my man. What's up? Still here. Stuck in this damn jam, my man.
Your best verse? You don't even have a bad verse in here. Just tumbleweed and liquor stains. Wait, no. What are you doing?
That's brutal, man. But you know, time will...
No, stop. He's already mortified.
That's,
In the name of God, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. These are your rhymes. They're from your life. Doesn't matter if they're robust, they're honest. So, thanks, man.
Yes. And I also thank you for stopping. We have a drug investigation to return to. How about we do that?
I don't want to talk about that. Man, I was hoping it isn't going to be her. All I can say is, she isn't around here anymore. She isn't some evil drug trafficker. And I don't know where she is. I didn't, man. I told you I was hoping it's not her. That she wouldn't be mixed up in it. Thank God I don't know. People here call her the Lady Driver. She kept her name a secret. From me, too. Now I see why. A friend? An acquaintance. I don't know. She was the only person in this damn jam I could talk to. She's someone I don't want to rat out to the law, okay? A youngish woman. Gruff, but in a cool way.
What color hair?
Blue and violet. Died. It was violet when she got here. Blue before she went.
Then she may have dyed it again.
Damn, I don't want to... Please just let it go. Whatever she did, it can't be that bad. She's not a bad person, I know that much.
We can't just let it go. It's part of a police investigation.
That's how it always is with you, isn't it? All part of the investigation. The girl's troubled. If you hunt her down, she may not survive it. I can't have that on my conscience.
It won't come to that. We won't pursue her on this. This is information only.
I don't believe you. She's got the darkness in her. That young person's darkness when you think it's all over. And you're looking for a way out.
She shared this with you?
Yes. Which is why I don't want to snitch on her. I heard the rumors. I saw the other drivers looking at me strange when we talked. And she told me, too, that she's had a violent life. But I wasn't afraid of her. More like for her.
Did this violent life include drug trafficking?
Well, it looks like it did now. But we didn't talk about that. We talked about life, you know? She talked about her mind, the way it worked, the trouble it was giving her.
The pain it was causing her.
Fuck, man. Go grill someone else with these questions, okay? There are plenty of drivers here who couldn't stand her, or were afraid of her. They'd be more than happy to rat her out.
He's right. There are other options. The raceman, for one. Now is not the time to focus on feelings. You need that info, son. It's right here. The answer is right here. You just need to ask him. Come on, do it.
You're not gonna put a bullet in your head if you blow it, are you? 'Cause she's on the edge, man.
I wouldn't be so sure, Tommy. Imagine it. An explosion of stars. Goodbye world of men, money, and machines.
I thought you were a different kind of cop. Here.
The keys to a motor lorry. Pretty complex. Looks like a chain lock.
The lorry's still here. Down past the statue of Philippe. The cabin is green. You can get in there with these. That's all I know.
When did she leave?
Last Friday. She left them to me. Because she trusted me. So I can get it out of the way when the jam breaks loose. Otherwise...
The other drivers would have to tow it or break in to get the machines moving.
No. I don't know. Nah. I need to think my own thoughts now. Pray forgiveness for my sins. Go check your cabin. I hope it gets you something. Help someone. Oh, look. It's the cop who turned me into a bad person.
Hello, compatriote. You have some...
This green found, A to Z, Contemporain, is parked in the shadow of the ruins looming overhead. It's seen better days.
This is the one our man pointed to.
The glass on the side windows is tinted and covered with dust. You can barely make out the shape of the seat and two steering levers. The door is locked. The handle looks shiny, like it's recently replaced. There's no pick in this lock. The owner has put special care into it. It's a recessed design. You push the key into the lock and turn. It makes a cracking sound. Then the door pops back a few centimeters. You can just... The smell of cigarettes and perfume welcomes you. The cabin inside is plastered with old movie posters. Actresses smile from the walls. There's a radio transmitter in the front and a toolbox tucked under the driver's seat. Some tools lie scattered near the pedals. These are movie posters featuring starlets from long-forgotten films from the 20s, the teens, even the 90s of the last century. One of them particularly catches your eye, a centerfold of an ingenue attached right above the back seat. The actress is draped in a sheath dress, one of her shoulders bared. The faded remains of an autograph run across the poster. She's looking past the camera. Wait, doesn't she resemble someone you know? But you can't put your finger on whom exactly. The actresses and the rear actor all smile you a warm goodbye. A radio transmitter is attached to the dashboard and a toolbox sits under the driver's seat. You wedge yourself under the steering wheel to get a better look. Seems like the few tools lying around here, a hammer, a pair of pliers, a rusty wrench, have been casually thrown there by the disorganized driver. But one odd detail does catch your eye. A piece of sandpaper has been glued to the throttle.
Sandpaper? A novel technique. Must be to offer some extra grip to the driver's foot. Yes?
Do the honors, he thinks. Connect it yourself.
Which means that the missing lady driver was present at the lynching. Looks like her, yes. Now we know for certain who's the missing eighth person at the lynching. Do you think that Hardy and his boys could also be involved in the drug operation? We should talk with Titus, see what he's got to say on the matter. Are we finished with the lorry?
The movie stars are still smiling from the walls. The radio transmitter sits on the center console and a faint smell of perfume is in the air. A metallic drawer slides out from the seat. It's empty, except for a folded newspaper. It's an issue of Périphérique from last Wednesday. A piece of paper falls out from its pages. It looks like an article ripped out from a radio enthusiast magazine. Complex mathematical equations explain the basics of something called the Ulan frequency system. These formulas look oddly painful. Maybe it's the hangover, but they give you a headache.
The Ulan frequency system? I've never heard of that before. I know of FM, AM, UKV, but...
The pull-out toolbox slides back into its nest. The rest is as it was. Radio, posters, a trace of motor oil smell under all the cigarettes. Looks like the frequency dial is absent. It requires a key to work, but the key has been removed. Likely by the missing lady driver.
Strange. There are so many radio stations saved here. Must be over 100 at least. For contacting an entire fleet of lorrymen, for example. This is all shortwave, UW and UKV. Looks like we are dealing with an impressive organizational tool. The nerve center of a huge operation. With quite a range too.
A 20-kilometer radius at least. Perhaps extended by an attachable antenna that's not here right now.
Doesn't look like it. It's completely inoperable without the dial key.
The smell of 1,000 cigarettes, some dead actresses, and a rusty old toolbox under the seat. You close the rusty old lorry door.
Great. I think we got everything. A word, detective? Before we return to Joyce? All right, we've finished here. Let's quickly debrief and go over what we found, so we don't do it in front of the company rep. Honestly, I'm quite worried by what we've seen so far. The evidence seems to point to a rather extensive and well-organized operation. I'm especially intrigued by that radio transmitter, particularly the sheer number of stations it can connect. Looks like this alleged drug trade casts a wide net. I'm not sure what the Ulan frequencies are all about, but they may hold some significance. Perhaps it's a better way to connect between fleets while avoiding frequency bleed, or maybe it's used to tap into RCM networks.
Listening in on your calls between you and your station, a worrying prospect.
And last but not least, it looks like the Hardy Boys knew this driver, as we know that she was present at the lynching. This may be the Union connection we've been searching for.
The probe and the case converged, he thinks. This was quite the find.
Like Joyce told us, yes, logistically. But don't expect to bust this open during our stay here. At best, this is an angle we can use against them, to other ends, as extra ammunition. As elegant as they are, I don't think they are relevant to the drug trade.
Don't be fooled. Desire always plays a role.
Yes, well...
Unimportant.
As...
Don't be fooled.
Yes, well...
Unimportant.
As...
Don't be fooled.
I'm going to say no. We should return to the murder case, see what Joyce tells us about the lynching. When we are done for the day, I call my station and suggest our narcotics department look into it. There are more than enough grounds to start an official investigation, sometime later when we are done here. We do not want to get caught in that. The fact that one hasn't started already gives me pause. An investigation, I mean. Especially if the Madre grouping is involved, and I can't imagine they aren't. It's certainly worrisome. All the same, I don't like the idea of internal affairs descending on the matter. That won't help anyone either. Debrief over, after you.
Oh, look. It's the cop who turned me into a bad person.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone. As you tap...
No, that's enough fun.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? It would...
Her voice...
Gottlieb, what you get yourself into this time? I didn't, but now I do. How's the drinking going? Great. Have a medal. I have an autopsy to attend to. An autopsy of one Chester McLean who died of fish poisoning.
Fucking, I'm not dead. It just hurts, okay?
Look, pal, getting pumped and dumped is not a disease. People live through it all the time. You should be happy for her. That's what the guys say, officer. That some chick pumped you and then dumped you, threw you away like an empty juice carton.
Don't take it personally. There just wasn't any juice left in your carton, pal.
You must have me confused for a close personal friend. I am not. I am a medical professional with a constant idiot emergency on my hands.
One needs tending to right now, he thinks, looking around the room. God, these apes.
Oh, it's you. I know a woman skilled at that sort of thing over in Jamrock, but I wouldn't want to inflict you upon her. Best of luck, detective.
Anything else I can help you with, officer? 57's over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set.
You're back. Good. Yes, my eyes on the harbour have sent word to that effect. What have you discovered? It doesn't really matter, and I do apologise for the surveillance. Wild Pines can't afford to be blind at a time like this. In any case, it's a relief to know someone has looked into it. If I may ask, will there be an official investigation? I assume you discovered there is an operation.
If there is an investigation, it will be part of an ongoing operation, subject to confidentiality. I am sure you understand.
Of course, detectives. In any case, you've held up your end of our arrangement. I trust you with the rest. Now it's my turn. I wouldn't normally break protocol like this, but the situation demands it. If you don't solve this murder, I'm afraid we may have a bloodbath on our hands.
The words bloodbath sound cold in her mouth. They taste of iron and strawberries.
Yes. I'm afraid this strike may descend into a small-scale civil war, with possible consequences for all of Rivershoal West.
Since you are sharing, ma'am, this is also the RCM's worst-case scenario.
Then we're on the same page, as grim as it may be. I have an indirect role to play, I'm sad to say. My employer experienced a momentary lapse of faith in me. In that moment, they elected to deploy a private military contractor as an insurance measure. They called it my security detail. They were dispatched after I relayed the union's initial offer.
Every worker...
A member of the board. I tried to convince my employer it was simply a piece of rhetoric, or a joke. They did not appreciate the humor. Absolutely not. These mercenaries are muscle, pure and simple. They are meant to intimidate the Union into surrendering.
Who are they, exactly?
Crenell, an Oranese military company. As far as I know, 3 arrived in Martinez. They report to me sporadically, but they do not answer to me. To be frank, our relationship is deteriorating. They wear ceramic armor, have semi-automatic weapons, and years of combat experience. They also have trauma and stressor disorder, and no idea how to conduct themselves in an urban civilian environment.
So, what happened?
The story is, one of them, the colonel, I don't know his real name, sexually assaulted a local woman while he was drunk and separated from his unit. This allowed some of the more militant Union members to subdue him. He was taken out behind the whirling in rags and lynched last Sunday night. Nothing. Mr. Clare refuses to let me into the harbor. I have not been able to discuss this matter with anyone there. The remaining 2 Crenell contractors carry out their orders, for now. It's a smokescreen. In secret, they are conducting an independent military tribunal into the lynching. Once this investigation is concluded, executions will follow.
What is the nature of this so-called investigation?
Whether to execute one, some, or all of the Union militants.
It'll be all of them. The decision is already made.
It was the Union who strung him from that tree. My hope is that you provide a single concrete suspect before Crenell indiscriminately pick theirs. Simply put, if you don't pin this on someone good, and do it fast, they will identify and execute everyone present at the lynching. This in turn will force the Union to respond.
The Debarders have over 2,000 men. It will be 1,000 to 1.
Have you ever seen a Hornet invade a beehive, Lieutenant? It's not pretty. These men work in tandem using semi- and fully automatic firearms. Their armor is virtually impenetrable to muzzle-loaded weapons, even yours. Most Union workers don't have guns at all. As I said, a bloodbath.
Maybe a good bloodletting is just what Martinez needs. Houses drenched in red, blood gushing down Rue de Saint-Cispar. The whole place mopped with a giant red rag. Fresh bullet holes for all the old buildings.
It will not be a pretty sight.
It appears you found it, yes. And I'm not happy for you.
Clean. Yes. Nothing will grow here for 20 years. Crenell will send in gunships and the coalition government will follow suit. Many bleak scenarios have already come true, Lieutenant W. Frater de Bois. All we can do is keep the rest from going the same way. One single concrete suspect delivered into civil court, and I may be able to defuse this situation. Not much, Their public resume is relatively good, as far as private military contractors go. I believe they were once called Downwell. They boast a long list of clients: Saint-Baptiste, Welchman Lorenz, Eendracht. A warning sign, however. The operations concerned all take place in third or fourth world countries. Guarding facilities, escort missions and such.
Meaning they're used to operating in war zones.
Yes. All the good conflict corridors, Supramundi, Yesut, the Seminese Islands, countries that don't have a good record reporting atrocious military conduct on their soil. I wouldn't go as far as to use that term, detective. Yes.
Feels like there's a good response here, but you're not coming up with one. Carry on.
Sadly, no. Before this happened, I had little interest in them. Now that I do, I don't have the resources. If you still have access to the ICP's database, you could run a better background check than I ever could. It may take some time, though.
Do you know a lot about the inner workings of the RCM and the ICP, ma'am?
In my line of work, it pays to do your research. I was prepared to deal with the RCM. I did not think I'd be dealing with a group like Crenel. I have, and they will. However, these orders take time to reach what is basically a rogue unit out in the field here. Until they do, it's all on us. Or he didn't. This is information passed on to me from some teenagers loitering around the canal. I cannot testify by it. The remaining contractors, their tribunal, it's what they believe. That the man was killed because he assaulted a local woman. I've asked around a bit. This seems to be the accepted story around Martinez.
The lieutenant consults his notebook, his eyebrows knitted in concentration.
Odd. We haven't heard any reports about an assault in connection with the lynching. Where did it take place? And when?
Last Sunday night, at the Whirling in Rags, the hostel by the gates. Supposedly, the colonel was drunk, maybe on narcotics too. Either way, he's alleged to have sexually assaulted a woman. Sometime later, a group of dock workers got their hands on him. That's a good question, officer. I don't have the slightest idea. As I said, it's a rumor about a rumor. In any case, it's what the colonel's remaining colleagues believe.
You'll meet her soon enough, you feel?
If you mean did I see him alive, yes. But I did not know him. Lely, his service name, a nom de guerre, most likely. He wouldn't divulge his full name. Only one of them did. A bad sign if there ever was one. One is a man, Corty, they call him, a nickname as well. The other a woman, Phyllis DePaul. Corty is the gunner, I believe. DePaul is a radio operator.
What would you say was his eye color, the deceased's?
She closes her eyes, trying to picture the man's face, then shakes her head.
I can't remember.
That's all right, then. Anything else? Nationality? What would you say was his age?
He was 40. Or 50. It's hard to say which. He had a combat injury on his lower jaw. It made it difficult to estimate his age, or gauge his facial expressions.
Indeed. This matches the dental reconstruction we saw on the body. What else? Nationality? Accent?
He was, Occidental, I think. Light brown hair, a mixed accent, Oranese, or Messinian, maybe. His injury gave him an accent all his own. In a way, it was humanizing. He had to learn to speak through it, through the injury. That's all I know, I guess. I only met him once.
Must be hard to force your face to move in a new fashion. If you continue like this, you'll have an aneurysm. Then you'll have to...
They've gone to ground, as it were. I don't recommend seeking them out. For one, they're almost certainly armed to the teeth. They don't have the same respect for the Revachol citizens' militia as I do. To put it bluntly, they think you're vigilantes. Ghetto savages. It will not be a fruitful meeting.
You should show those meatheads exactly how savage you really are.
Did you miss the part about ceramic armor and automatic weapons, Detective?
That is a bad idea. One I won't be a party to.
One is obviously the scab leader at the harbor gates. The one chanting the idiotic slogans. He's barely maintaining his disguise. The other has a vantage point in a building south of the roundabout. They were keeping tabs on you while you were canvassing the lorry drivers.
That may be so. I still hope you heed my advice. There's no need to kick the hornet's nest.
For all your talk of averting this catastrophe, the situation at the gate is a powder keg. Does this not bother you?
Of course it bothers me, Lieutenant. But my hands are tied. How would my employer react if it appeared I were intervening on behalf of the Union?
Your concern may be appearances. Ours is keeping the peace.
That would afford a good vantage point. In any case, it's practically inaccessible.
Where is your radio for contacting them, if I may ask? Do you have an earpiece?
Heavens no. I'm not an undercover agent. There's a short wave at the ship's wheel. I hope I can answer it better. Until the executions start? Truthfully, I don't know. It depends on their progress identifying the members of the lynch mob, and their impatience.
They don't report their progress to you?
Not on this matter. I'm afraid they consider this a personal initiative. It's a matter of days, not weeks. I am sorry to have been the bearer of bad news. If there is anything else I can help you with, please ask. Of course. Excuse my hesitation before.
For about half a minute, in silence.
It was taken with a frigate not long ago. This is the man's upper body. There were no more markings on his hands or legs.
Her mouth is relaxed. The accordion lines near her mouth vanish. The pearls of her eyes move slowly on the photo's surface.
Sorry. I was trying to see if I can read the web of interdependencies between these points. The stars. I can't. But that's how you read this story. The points themselves don't have letters, numbers, anything. Their size, location on the body, and distance from each other tells you what they represent. Close. Port cities. This is an Oronese map of the waterways, a sailor's tattoo worn by wayfarers of the Dolorian century. Over 300 years ago, the sailors would mark their bodies to map their travels. The sailor's soul would use it to fly back home if they should die abroad. This is a sort of contraption to be reeled back in by. The silver cord, they would call it.
Where is he now?
That is precisely what the sailors feared when they drew these maps. A fear of drowning within one's own corpse. Quite a few. Vredefort, the Oronese capital, traditionally stands on the right shoulder. He started somewhere near here, I think.
What next?
Then he made his way to the Pretto Grande, through what I think must be the Stutz Canal, an artificial channel through the Occident. From the Pretto, he sailed to the Insulindic Ocean, first the Semines Islands, then this. Revachol. Those are the two constants. Vredefort on the shoulder, and Revachol in the heart. They started the tradition of these maps right after the discovery of Insulinde, at the dawn of the Inter-Isolary Age.
The old world passing by, and the new world already here.
You said you can't read it.
I can't. This man was no sailor, and these are no ports. I can understand geographic fragments, but not their meaning.
In Martinez looking into Krenot, he writes in one. Then the man puts down his pen and rubs his temples with both hands. Outside, there is a siren. Distant gunshots on the streets of the Jamrock Quarter.
That makes sense to me. We have no more use for a map of the waterways, just like we don't need sailors the way we used to. This is what the custom would morph into on the Occident. Mercenary tattoos.
For all the boys looking for adventure, a blood spatter on the seas.
His platoon members? The other contractors. Though I do not suggest you go and show them that picture. This man was their friend and comrade.
Challenge accepted. I say we do it.
Do what you have to do, Detective Dubois. I don't think deciphering that tattoo should come before public security. But if you should wade into the mob to find out, I couldn't stop you.
We will be careful, ma'am.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
It is such a pleasure.
You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display of croissants and juice bottles. The raincoats are transparent, except for the big Fritta slogan on the back. The packages are small, discreet, sloppily stacked, making them easier to take unnoticed. No need to worry about knocking over a display. You see several packaged raincoats. Now that you've acquired some stimulants, it's time for a little pick-me-up. Time to detect. It'll make you into more than that. A mega cop. This is your modus operandi. This is how you've done it for years. Let's go. See? That's your problem. A lack of confidence. Speed can help you with that. And, Kim, it can help you with everything. It's not ideal, no. But you need the zeal. Let's face it. You're never going to finish this case without cheating. You raise the bottle, close a nostril, and inhale furiously. The rush is almost immediate. It tastes bitter and caustic and stings a bit inside your nose. Now the taste is slowly receding into your throat. The rush is growing in intensity, your little heart pounding like a bird in a cage. A sweat breaks out across your brow. Your jaw clenches. And, let's be honest, there's a little chest pain. The good kind, of course. You may want to blast a nosofed or something. Whoa, this shit is strong. This shit is disco. To this? You kidding? There are downsides to not being on it. There are massive downsides. It's a potent neurotoxin. You're turning yourself into a frayed idiot.
I'm not your mother. I don't care. Do what you have to do.
As long as you remain functional, he thinks. Now, let's get back to work. Spring. Everything is clear around you. You're ready to concentrate on the next task in the task chain.
In the bottom right corner of the screen, there's a speed button. Speed gives +1 to motoric skills. Perception, reaction speed, hand-eye coordination, savoir-faire, interfacing, and composure. This is good before a white check, but damages your morale.
You see several packaged raincoats. The girl delves into the magazine. Hair covering her face, vision obscured. She cannot see your hand move. Down onto one knee, pretending to do up a shoelace. Take a loose package from the bottom. Slip it in the old sleeve. The girl doesn't notice a thing. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles.
Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste makes you feel better or something. Okay, here. I hope Saint Baptiste... Okay, here. I hope Saint...
The tear machine stands. Your bottles clunk into the machine. Do you know what you should do with that money, kiddo? You should buy more alcohol. Enter the endless cycle of consumption.
Hi again, Gendarme. Bye-bye, Gendarme. Hi again, Gendarme.
Could he be a member of the homosexual underground? Yes, this man is definitely one of the homos. I've seen them homos with my own eyes. This sexual thing seems interesting. Ask around. Become involved.
The homosexual underground? Why, yes I am, officer. Why? Do you want to investigate? Oh, it's a pleasure group. A Sub Rosa pleasure group congregating in cellars under the cover of night. Saturday night. Sometimes even Friday night. Or Thursday night. Sometimes the congregating doesn't even end. It carries on into our daily life. Oh, we're ambitious. We want to destroy the last vestiges of meaning. The last things people in Rebishul have to hold on to. The true symbols of security. The meaning of man and woman, mother and father, their marriage. Everything will be constantly shifting and moving under our rule. The future will belong to a circus of identities just spinning around, surreal and unreal. You won't even know who you are anymore. But do you also like the razzle-dazzle of gold? Do you like parties and discos and having fun under the vibrant lights of Saturday night? Because instead of the traditional family unit, we're going to have all this razzmatazz. And mysteries, of course, too. Mysteries of sexual nature, very esoteric. And disco music and drugs. Ah, but for the better part of history, it has been illegal. No. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's exactly what we're looking for. Who knows, maybe you were homosexual in the past. Maybe all of that has been repressed. I have to say that you do look like someone who might be part of the underground. You have that very distinctive, I can't understand what's going on here look. Do think about it, officer. Absolutely wonderful. Bye-bye, gendarme.